Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and I'm back after a little bit of an absence. Wanting to get back up and going with this Chicago Cubs playthrough with Out of the Park 21. Finished spring training last episode. Now we're just at opening day. Gonna have a tough start though on the road against Boston. Not sure how well they're looking now that we're in 2022. I think they've had to get rid of a lot of their big name players too over the last few years, but I'm really anxious to see how this team does. Just to give you a recap, I don't know if we can see the off-season predictions now, or the off-season status reports, but we came out of the off-season with the biggest wins above replacement gained than any other team. I think we were about double the team in second place. So we picked up Noah Syndergaard. We picked up Inciarte. Picked up, I think, a couple of relievers. A good offseason for us, and a shortstop in Rojas, who I'm hoping will be a serviceable, adequate starter. Good defense, average offense. But I think we've really improved this team. This could be the year where we start turning it around. To get started, I'll go ahead and look at the preseason predictions once again. We were actually predicted to finish 87 and 75. Quite a gap there between us and the Cardinals, but the Cardinals in this playthrough, they have just put out a lot of money. To give you an idea of who's on this team, they've got Suarez, third baseman, who was with the Reds. He's going to give you a lot of power, some good defense, but he was with them last year, a 4.4 wins above replacement player. They've got Real Muto, the catcher. They've got Mookie Betts. They've got Paul Goldschmidt, who's, coming to the end of his not just his contract, I would assume. No, he's got 3 years. Wow, that's a big contract. He's probably not going to be the player he was 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, but he's pretty decent. He's probably going to give you some good personality ratings for sure. And then they've got, pitching-wise, they've got Dakota Hudson, Jack Flaherty, who was a Cy Young Award winner the first season of this playthrough in 2020, had a great season, and a really good season last year, 19 wins for him. So they're not going to be catchable, I don't think, by us. But going back to the predictions, I think I would be really happy with that record. It based on these numbers, it would qualify for the wild card. That would be huge success. We don't have really any individual performers here outside of Syndergaard, who I just picked up, but I'm still hoping we got some good balance. We got rid of Chris Bryant. We got rid of I think Bryant is now with Philadelphia. Let me double check if that's right. Yep, he's with Philadelphia. He had a pretty decent second half after we traded him away. So I'm still not regretting that trade, but he's probably going to help them quite a bit. And then I forget where we sent. I'd have to go back really through the transactions log, I guess, to see where we sent some of those other guys. But we did manage to keep Anthony Rizzo, signed him to a long-term contract. He had a pretty decent season for us last year after being hurt in 2020, so I'm hoping he bounces back a little bit this season. Just to take you through the pitching staffs and the lineups before we get started, and then I'll hopefully get through maybe the first month of the season or so. So looking at the ratings, we've got Syndergaard at 4.5 stars. He's going to be leading that rotation. Darvish, he's lost a tick in his overall ratings, but he's going to be next, followed by Hendricks. And then Honeywell, a guy I picked up from, I think, Tampa Bay. He was the one I picked up. Javier Baez went to Tampa Bay for Brent Honeywell. I'm hoping he kind of lands into that mid-rotation type pitcher. He's just 26, got some time for development. And then we're going to Throw Patterson in there because I like having a lefty somewhere in the rotation. If he doesn't perform too well, we got a couple guys here in Abbott and even Elledge who may not give you a lot of innings, but he could start in a pinch. Even Poppin could start if we needed to. He's a guy I picked up from Minnesota. I think the bullpen's going to be quite a bit better than last year. We picked up Nishioka, international free agent. This guy's a 4-star player. May work his way into the closer role if Adams has a rough season again like he did for us last year. But Adams is going to be in the closer role again starting out. We have got Rasmussen. He could also start as far as that goes. He had a really tough year last year between injuries and everything else. So I'm hoping he's going to be back playing well this year. Wani Barra, guy I signed as an international free agent last offseason. He had a pretty decent first season. I'm hoping he's going to be good. So I'm happy overall with that pitching staff. On the lineup side, we're going to go with Caratini starting and catching right now. But I feel like between these two, if I get to a point where I'm going to need to pick up some guys at the All-Star break or the trading deadline, I think Caratini might be someone I can move. He's got good defense. He can play first really well if it comes to it. I think overall, Amaya is going to be a better offensive player once he's finished developing. I think he's good enough to start right now, but same in terms of defense. His defensive catching is about the same as Caratini. So either one of these guys, it may come down to who I can get the most value from if I try to trade him. But right now, I would like to stick with Amaya. And then we got Rizzo at first. Horner, I'm going to start out with him getting most of the starts at second. But we did pick up Ernie Clement last season, this offseason. He's a good bench player. He gives you great contact ratings, a good offensive guy, good speed, good defense at second and short. He may get more starts if Horner can't really play too well. And then Segura, his numbers have struggled. Well, his numbers have dipped in terms of the ratings a little bit. He's a 2.5-star player from my scout and OSA, but I'm hoping that he can duplicate what he did last year. He's going to be a free agent really after this season if he can't turn it around. He's got a team option, $17 million. He's going to have a great season for me to keep him here. And then Rojas at short. Ian Happ, I'm hoping he bounces back from last season too. He's going to be left. And then Hazley, after I traded Almora Jr., he's going to take over in right field for now. Although he's rated really highly in left, he would be a better option, I think, over Happ, but not by much. But he's going to get, especially against righties, he's going to be in that starting lineup with NCRD at center. Brennan Davis is going to be the primary backup. He looked really good in a call-up last September. Eventually, I think he's going to work his way into a starting role on the team. And then Hayward's really just going to get some backup time. He's going to be the backup right fielder against right-handed pitchers and then maybe get some DH time, but that's it for him. Still got 2 years on his contract at $22 million. After this season, if I can get a little bit more depth in that outfield, he may be the one to let go and just eat that last year of his contract. Taking a look at AAA, we've got a few guys we could call up. Miller, starting pitcher, looked really good when we called him up last season. He was just in the bullpen in September, but he looked really good. He could come up if I get some injuries to the rotation. Also, we've got Short, who is coming. He was one of those guys who was really on the bubble. Wyatt Short looked good for us last season in some ways. Gave us quite a bit of innings anyway in the bullpen. He may be someone we can call up as well. And then Zach Short, another guy who good defensive second baseman. Offensively, though, I'm still not feeling too confident about him. And then in the outfield, we don't really have much going in AAA, so you have to get down here to probably, I don't know, I think in Carolina League, the High A League, before you start picking up some pretty decent prospects in the outfield. So we're not going to have a whole lot of guys to play around with. I think we're going to struggle at times a little bit if we have some injury problems. But we'll just go ahead and get started and see how it works out. So first game against Boston on the road, and it should be Syndergaard, and we lose 4-9. Not a good start. Rizzo, a couple hits. Inciarte, 2 for 4 in his Cubs debut, but Syndergaard, 5 runs in 5 innings. Not how you want to start out with him. Now game 2 against Boston, we win in extra innings, 8-7. Inciarte led off in this one, and he's getting the starting nod at center field against lefties and righties, but he's going to be leading off against right-handed pitchers. So he had a good game. Hazley, 4 for 5. Some good offensive numbers here. Another 2 hits for Rizzo, although he hasn't hit a home run or driven any runs in. Darvish was rocked. 5 earned runs in a 1 2/3 innings. Bullpen, though, looked good. That's really good to see. That's about, 6-7 innings of shutout pitching there from the bullpen. Game 3 against Boston, we win 5-2. That's a good win. Sakura drove in a couple. And then Hendricks, who was injured for a lot of the season, 2 years ago, hasn't really bounced back from that. He's 3 stars, but I don't know if he's going to really have much impact on this rotation. He's still signed for 2 more seasons with a team option. I don't know what I'm going to do with him, but Adams picked up his second save. So we win 2 of 3 on the road from Boston. Pretty good. I'm going to take a look real quick at the news here. We do have a fine from my scout, but just a half-star player. And then players of the week. Are we up there yet? No, we don't have any players of the week yet. Power rankings, we're 6th for what it's worth, but we got another tough task here at St. Louis, who they swept, I guess, Milwaukee. Was that who they played first? Yeah, they won 3 games pretty handily. So let's see what we can do against them. Game 1. Oh, we've got Brad Wick, a guy who he's another one I'm not sure is going to have much more than an injury call-up on this team. He looked really bad the couple times that we've called him up the last 2 seasons. But he... And another sign is nobody would pick him up off waivers, so we're going to demote him to AAA. First game against St. Louis, we lose, but it's a close one, 2-1 in 12 innings. Not much offensively here, but Honeywell, 6 shutout innings. Nishioka blew the save, the free agent signing from the offseason. Elledge took the loss. Game 2, we win 4-3, so we got a lot of extra inning games so far. Inciarte, another good game. Rizzo, his first RBI of the season. And Happ, good game from him, 2 for 4, drove in 3. Patterson, solid outing from him, 7 1/3, just 2 hits, 1 run. Didn't get the decision, but a good, solid start from him. Now, game 3 against St. Louis, we win 8-5. Good offense here from Happ. He's off to a very good start. He was 2 for 5, drove in 5. Rizzo, a couple of hits. Caratini's struggling, 0 for 3, hitting 105 on the year. Syndergaard got the start and the win, but 5 runs in 8 1/3. Maybe he's just settling in. That's what I'm hoping for. Taking a look at Happ, though, he's off to a great pace. So now we got Cincinnati at home for 3 games. We lose that first one 4-1. Clement got the start here at short, had a couple of hits, and that's about it. 5 hits for the team. Darvish pitched a better game than his first one, 7 innings, just 1 earned run, but we couldn't get the offense going here. I'm going to go to the news because it looks like we got a couple things here that are pretty big. Steven Strasburg's going to be gone for Well, I thought it was a season injury, not too long. He has been such an injury risk for Washington. Just 22 starts each of the last two seasons. I would not want to be saddled with that contract. 35 million through 2026, and then Otani. How long is he going to be? 2 to 3 weeks. But I wanted to look at the player update report. So we got Seth Elledge, who's in the bullpen right now. He's looking really good. I mean, this guy might be closer material, honestly. He does have some problems against lefties, but not too much. I mean, certainly not for any role in the bullpen other than closer. Yu Darvish took a dive in a few categories. Rizzo, though, improved, I think, his contact. Is that right? No, his power. So he's now a 4-star player for my scout. Hazley, guy I picked up in trade from Philadelphia last year. I think this guy's good enough to start full time, and he's now a 3-star player. And then in the minors, here's Connor Ash, guy I drafted pretty low in the 22nd round. Even though he's still like a 2-star potential, 2.5 from OSA, I really like to see that kind of positive development. I mean, that means that he's really whatever time that he's getting in the minors, it's going towards his development. So he could surprise. I mean, for my scout right now, he's just saying he's going to be an emergency starter, but that's a pretty good jump, even though his last scouting report he dropped in a few categories. But that's good to see. I mean, that's 6-7 categories there where he improved. And same for Trevor Cadd down here in the bottom. I took a risk with him, drafted him, even though he wasn't really coming out of or coming into the draft with much in the terms of potential. I had drafted him in a previous playthrough, I guess from last year's version of Out of the Park Baseball, and he had a great career. I think he had a Hall of Fame career, actually, for Cincinnati. So he's improved in a few categories. Might work his way into eventually starting. So I'll keep an eye on him. I might even actually I think I can. I thought I could anyway. Put him on from there. Let me do this again. Yeah, I'm gonna add him to my short list just to take a look at him. All right, so now we got a break before game 2 against Cincinnati, and a big loss, 9-0. Again, the offense is struggling. Just 7 hits. Hendricks did not have a great game. Gave up 5 runs and 2 1/3. And then last game against Cincinnati, we win 4-0. So we're 5-4. Not a bad start. Caratini finally had a good game, 3 for 4. Happ was 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. He's been, I think he's been our best offensive player so far. And then Honeywell got the decision here. He has yet to give up a run. So that's 2 starts, 13 1/3 innings, but no earned runs yet. So that's good to see. We'll take a look at the players of the week and whatnot here. We're going to be playing Cardinals now. Even though it's at home, it's a 4-game series, so I'm hoping we can at least split it. And then we got Steven Alame for Detroit, American League Player of the Week, and then Jazz Chisholm for Miami. Shortstop, he's still got some development to go. And then we are 11th in the power rankings, so that's still pretty good. That's not bad to see. Anything here that looks kind of crazy to start the season? Honeywell leading the league in ERA. Chris Bryant, he's leading in home runs and RBIs. On pace for 130 home runs and 194 RBIs. We'll revisit that a little bit later. But even so, Philadelphia is just 4-6. And then I want to check the waiver wire, just see how it's looking early. Not much there. So next week we'll take a look at the teams, how we're doing team statistics wise. First game against St. Louis, great offensive performances here from Inciarte, who's off to a good start, hitting 341 in primarily the leadoff spot. Another good game from Hazley, and then Ian Happ, 2 for 3, scored 3, drove in 3. He's off to a monster start. His contract, he is yet to reach free agency, so that's good. He's got a couple option years left, so I'd like to keep him as long as I can if he's going to perform like that. And then Patterson, once again, didn't get the decision, but he pitched pretty strong. 6 2/3, just 3 earned runs, and for the season, a 2.58, 2.57 ERA. He's looked pretty good. His deal is going to be, can he hold the walks down? So he's already up to 8, pretty high. Game 2 against St. Louis, a 1-0 shutout. So we're winning when we're not hitting, and that's a good thing to see. Syndergaard, 7 1/3, no runs, still didn't get the decision. And I think, no, he has 1 win for us. I was about to say I don't think he's gotten a decision yet, but he's 1-1 on the season. I don't know what you would say would be the big offensive thing here, except maybe pointing out that Hayward drove in the winning run. And it's not the line you want to see from a guy you're paying $22 million, but at this point, if he's positive, if he stays positive, wins above replacement, gets his OPS up close to 700, there's not much I can hope for other than that. All right, so game 3, if we win this one, we win the series, and we do 6-0. Inciarte a couple hits. Rizzo drove in a couple. Caratini, another good game from him, so maybe he's getting turned around. Clement got the start at second and looked really good, 2 for 4. Scored 2, drove in 2. Looks like he had a home run in this one. And then Darvish finally got a win, 8 1/3, no runs, no walks. When he's on, he can still put together that kind of an outing. I'm really surprised by what I've seen from him in this playthrough. I thought he was going to be one of the big trouble areas that I was going to have to deal with, but so far he's been adequate, maybe a little bit better than adequate as a starter. Still got him for 2 more seasons, so hopefully he can give me that kind of performance. So we're at 8-4 right now. We're in first place in the Central. Last game against St. Louis, we win. We sweep them. 4 games from St. Louis. Segura, 3 hits. Caratini, 3 hits. So he's, again, keeps playing well. And then Hendricks got his second win. 6 innings, 3 runs. Again, if I get that kind of performance from him game to game, I'm going to be happy. That's well enough for me. He's on pace for 24 wins for what it's worth. Now we're going to be going into, looks like Toronto on the road. Any big news here? Bryce Harper got his 300th home run. Wander Franco, he's going to be out for Tampa Bay. That's a big injury, gone for the season. And so no, Toronto comes in struggling. They are 3-10, but we're going to be on the road. It's going to be, I'm not sure how well we're going to be as a DH team. So game 1, we lose 5-9 in extra innings. A lot of extra inning games here. Brendan Davis got the start. He was 2 for 4 and got the start in right field. Happ still playing well. Hazley, DH, 3 for 4. Good game from him. Horner, Amaya. Amaya got the start at first. I was trying to get him some time there at first so I can get his bat more in the lineup. Honeywell, another good game. Just could not get the decision. 7 1/3, just 2 earned runs. And then the bullpen really blew it. Rasmussen, who should be a little bit better than this, but he's one of those guys, too, because of his movement and control. They're rated so poorly that if he does like what he did last season and 2 seasons ago, I'm not going to hang on to him too much. Even though the stuff is outstanding, the fastball, slider, those movement and control ratings are enough to keep him from being a dependable pitcher. All right, so let me take Guerrero. He's off to a really slow start. Game 2 against Toronto, we lose 5-6 in extra innings again. Davis, another good start from him. Segura, Rojas struggled here, though. 3 hits from Hazley, Happ, Segura, Davis. But then pitching-wise, Patterson, not too bad, but the bullpen. Nishioka not looking good. Poppin gave up a run to lose it. And then game 3, can we salvage a win? And we don't. We lose 5-6, so they sweep us. Not a good series. And Rizzo was 3 for 4. Hayward drove in a couple. Syndergaard, a pretty decent outing, but bullpen struggled here. Ibarra, Elledge gave up some runs there to lose it for us. So now we're 9-7. So that series against St. Louis didn't really help us much. So now we got Aroldis Chapman gone for the year. That's a pretty big injury. He was the Yankees closer still. Players of the week, we got Rio Ruiz in the American League, Arenado in the National League. Power rankings, we're in the middle, 13th. So, gosh, I wish we could have kept winning there so we could have got some distance. That was a good, if we'd have won 2 or 3 there and kept some distance with St. Louis and Milwaukee, we would have been in good shape. In terms of, I wanted to take a look at how we're doing team-wise. Extra inning games are something that's really, we're 2-3 so far. So I thought we had more than 5, but 5 extra inning games in the first 16, that's pretty tough. Offensively, we're top 10, and we're just kind of all over the place looking at the numbers here. Batting average is good. Hits, are pretty good. Strikeouts, we're second in the league there, but not a lot of power being shown. We're middle or below middle in a lot of categories here. Tied for 13th in home runs. And then in pitching, top 5 in starters ERA and earned run average overall. Doing good with opponents' batting averages. Defense looks really good. So I do like to build a strong defensive team. That's one of the things I pay a lot of attention to. So hopefully that's going to be good. We just had a really tough start so far on that pitching staff side. And we got another tough time of it, I think, coming up. Colorado and San Francisco on the road. First game against Colorado, another extra inning loss. So we're at 500. No, 1 game above 500 now. Rojas, 3 hits in this one. Segura. Rizzo drove in a couple. Darvish, 7 innings, 4 runs. If your offense is going, that's not too bad. But Adams, already starting to see trouble from him. He has really looked bad the last 2 outings. And he lost the game for us, really. And then game 2 against Colorado, 7-8. Now our offense is looking good. Pitching is just tanking. Caratini now having a good season, 296 average. Inciarte a good game too, a couple hits. Hendricks shellacked. 7 runs, 7 runs, in 1 1/3 innings. Wow, can't keep that up. Game 3, we got to win this one. We're now in second place, and we finally win 8-7. But that was one tough run right there. So we got Segura, Rizzo, those guys having some good games. Middle of the order looked really good here in this one. Honeywell got his second win of the season. He's looking really good in that 4th spot in the rotation. Adams, 4 save, but he gave up 2 runs. Poppin not looking good. This is another guy that I picked up last year in a trade. I haven't really been impressed with him. He was pitching way better for Minnesota when I traded for him. He may be somebody I need to upgrade. So back to the news real quick. Patrick Sandoval, he's only going to be out for 2 weeks for St. Louis. John Gray gone for 4 to 5 months for Colorado. Jake Odorizzi for the Yankees gone for 4 months. All right, so let's see if we can turn it around here against San Francisco. They're coming in 6-13, so they're struggling. But Toronto swept us when they were struggling. We're 10-9, a game back in the Central. Game 1, we lose 2-4. Inciarte, Rizzo, Happ, good games. Hap's still playing well, off to a great start. Patterson, not as sharp here. 6 innings, 4 runs. Game 2 against San Francisco. Oh man, we lose 2-0. No offense here, just 2 hits. They went with Webb, and it looks like he was injured. And we went with Syndergaard, who had his best outing for us, I think. Now, he did have a shutout in that win against St. Louis in 7 1/3, but this was a good outing. He should have had this decision easy. 7 innings, just 1 run, 12 Ks. All right, so we're below 500 right now. And finally, big win to end the series, 9-0. Offensively, we look good here. Brendan Davis got the start again in right field, hit 4. Rojas looked good, 4 for 5. He's injured right now, but we're I may gamble with it. We got some rest coming up here. Maybe that'll help him. Darvish got a complete game shutout. He's off to a great start, really, so far. Let's take a look at the weekly news. So JD Martinez now with Toronto. He hit his 300th home run. Shane Bieber out for 5 weeks. He's last year's Cy Young Award winner in the American League. Players of the Week, Nolan Jones at Cleveland, Corey Seager. Man, he's off to a great start for the Dodgers. And now power rankings, we are 17th, so we keep dropping. And that's standings wise, it's putting us a game back now of St. Louis, who've won 3 in a row. We've lost 7 of 10, so we're struggling. Individually, let me see what kind of numbers people are putting up here. 11 home runs from Gallo. That's a pretty big number. On pace for 77. The thing about him, though, he's also on pace here for a 312 batting average, and that's just not going to happen. So his numbers will probably flatten out a little bit. Altuve off to a great start. And in the American or National League, Francisco Mejia, this guy is really looking good. Not a great defensive catcher, but offensively he is stacked, and he's hitting 465 right now. Corey Seager looking good. Chris Bryant, now he's settling down a little bit. Average down to 241. Pace for strikeouts up to 228. So I think that's what you're going to get from him in this game. So we'll see how he looks as the season goes on. Honeywell, 3rd in ERA, and then Syndergaard's tied for 2nd strikeouts. And then see if we improved any. We're still about where we were after this week in terms of the team stats. So we got Milwaukee at home and San Francisco at home. Those could be a couple series where we could get back to winning. Nick Senzel hits for the cycle in Cincinnati. So, all right, game 1 with Milwaukee. We win big 10-2. Inciarte. Did he hit a home run here? No. But Rizzo drove in 3. He's off to a decent pace, all things considered. Amaya, a couple hits. Clemens, Rojas look good here. And then pitching, Hendricks did not get the decision, but finally our bullpen looked good. No runs in 4 innings from him. Game 2 against Milwaukee, 5-2, another good game from our pitchers. Rizzo drove in all 5 runs. 6 home runs now. He looks like he had 2 home runs in this game. He was the offense, straight up. I mean, he only 3 players on the team got hits. 5 hits, but 5 runs from those 2 home runs. And then Honeywell, his 3rd win. So 7 strong innings, just 2 runs. This was a good pickup. And again, this is who I traded. I can't remember his name. Baez. I did get Taylor Walls though as well. Forgot about that. I did get Taylor Walls, who right now is he's not getting much starting time, but he is in the lineup right now. All right, so third game, we're back to 2 games over 500. We're in first place, and we sweep Milwaukee 4-3 in extra innings. Caratini, 3 hits for him. Again, this guy, I think he brings you enough that he's going to be. I think some teams are going to be interested in him. If I need another good starter, maybe I might be able to work something with him. Patterson did not get the decision here, but he looked good in 6 2/3. Bullpen again looked good. So now we're up against San Francisco. How are they playing right now? Looks like they are 9-16. So we're 14-11, and we lose the first game 2-6. I would like to win this series, and it's Syndergaard. I can't tell you how many times I've had this happen too. It's like you pick up a big free agent signing in that pitching staff. He's your number one starter, and this is the kind of luck he has. He's pitching well. We're just not scoring when he's pitching. Nishioka, though, he's got to turn it around. One of the things that I really, I kind of went against my own ground rule when I signed him, but I just like this stuff so much, and the fastball and slider. 2-pitch pitchers, even in the bullpen, 2-pitch pitchers in this game. I'm seeing this as well in the other playthrough I've got going on the side here in 21. 2-pitch pitchers are not usually strong enough to make it in the majors in out of the park baseball, and I don't know if that's going to be the case with him or not, but I just keep seeing him getting rocked constantly, and I think it's maybe the AI sees that limitation and I guess takes advantage of it. But it's tough to have a 2-pitch pitcher play well for you. All right, so game 2 we win 3-1, but we got a big injury, maybe 2 big injuries to deal with. Look at the game first. Caratini, another 3 hits for him. Inciarte, though, was injured. He's going to be out for 4 to 5 months. That's tough to see. Darvish, a good game for him, but he's injured. We don't know for how long. That is trouble. So, Inciarte, man, I hate to see that. He was a great value sign, but did not think he was a injury risk. So he's going to go to the DL for now for a while. And I'm going to take a look right off the bat at the waiver wire. Puig is out there for what it's worth. Heredia, who can play 3 positions, but his numbers are not good. Whoa. All right, so free agency. I'm going to look at the outfield there. And we got Chris Davis, Corey Dickerson. Now, Corey Dickerson, I think, would be serviceable in left field. He can play against righties or against lefties, even though he's a left-handed batter. He's going to strike out a lot. Not going to pick up a lot of walks. Although his avoid Ks is pretty high. Let's see, though, if I look at this lineup now, I mean, that puts Hazley, I think you're going to have to move to center. And then I think, I could go Brennan Davis. That's the thing about, I just realized I can't really pick up Dickerson as a left fielder, because then that Ian Happ really needs to stay in left field. Now let's see what we got here. And gosh, we are in so much trouble in our offensive depth at that outfield spot. So is it worth looking this early in the season? Is it worth looking at? Let me just look at the trading block. Is it worth looking at any outfielders here? Kane, he's injured. Pilar, those guys are going to be high contract for the most part. And so let me take a look back at the waiver wire. Puig, there's no way I'm going to take his attitude, and he can only play right field. I think for now I'm just going to have to bring up Miller, who can play left and center. Got good speed. Man, he's really not going to give you too much offensively. But then I'm going to put him at backing up and left and center. I'm going to put Hayward there as well, and then Miller here, and then let Miller take over for Davis. And then against lefties, same deal. Hazley's going to get the start in left field or center, and then it's going to be Miller backing him up, but not getting any starting time. And then Hayward is going to get the backups there. And then Hazley, move him there, and then I guess I'm going to have to do that too. And now Hazley will be in center. Brennan Davis will be back. He'll be in, but I'm going to lead off with Hazley against right-handed pitchers with the DH going. And then it's going to be Miller in the outfield, and that's going to be it. And we'll see how this works. Not what I was hoping to see right early in the season. All right, let's see what we can do with this. A lot of adjustments here already. And game 2, I guess we're going to also have to find out what happened to Darvish. He's only out for 3 days, thankfully. That would have been a 1-2 blow and a half had we lost them both. So we win 6-3. Davis, a couple hits. Now that he's got the full-time starter job. And then Happ still playing well, on pace for 122 RBIs. Hendricks, third win, 8 1/3 strong innings from him. And now we're going to be at St. Louis. I'm going to take a look at the news for Players of the Week. Jordan Alvarez, out of the park 21, really likes him too. He's strong in every playthrough I'm seeing. And then power rankings, we're up to 6th. So 16-12, a game above St. Louis, and we got 3 on the road. Then we go to Philadelphia. So that's a pretty tough order, but let's see what we can do. Game 1, 2-4. Davis, another good outing from him. 2 games, 2 hits leading off. I don't really like him leading off. I'm going to move that around. Honeywell, not a great game, but I think Hazley would be better leading off, and then keep Brennan Davis in that second spot. See how that plays out. Game 2 against St. Louis, 8-2, good win here. Segura, 3 hits. He's struggling a little bit, hitting just 246. Hazley scored a couple, drove in 3 in this game. Patterson got the win, his first win of the season. 6 innings, just 2 earned runs. And then big one here against Hudson for game 3, and we win 4-1. Great outing. Davis, 4 hits. When this guy plays, he really performs. And he's just 22, so that hopefully is a good sign. Rizzo drove in a couple, and then I'm hoping, Syndergaard got the win finally, although he only got 5 innings out of him, and he's going to be sore now. Hopefully he won't have to spend any time in the DH, or DL, sorry. Now we've got, this might be the last series we play here. It's going to be against Philadelphia. They are 15-16, but we're going to go up against them on the road, so this could be a tough outing. Game 1, they've got Justin Verlander, who is really done as a pitcher right now. I can't believe they're having to start him. He looks a little bit better from OSA, but they signed him for 3 years. Pretty tough choice, I think, on their part. But game 1, 10-0. Oh, man. Caratini had a couple hits, but just 6 hits total. Darvish really hammered. Although no earned runs, we gave up 7 runs with him starting. Verlander, 8 shutout innings. So I guess I should shut up about it. Baum, who's a guy who I'm also seeing some great development out of this guy in my playthrough that I'm running with the Phillies. He's developed into like a perennial all-star. He's off to a good start here in this playthrough. Harper looked good, although he's struggling. And then Bryant, yeah, that's where I'm thinking he's going to land. He's hitting 227, not doing too well. Man, that was not, I didn't expect that. So game 2, 2-3. Wow, that's not good. This is a team we should at least compete with. Davis, another couple hits from him, but Hendricks strong, Adams blew the save. And then now, last game, can we eke out a win? No, 4-5. They sweep us. So we're 2 games over 500 now, and that's probably where Philadelphia is after that series. Not much here offensively. Horner and Rojas, couple hits from them. Honeywell, after looking really good in his first few starts, he's struggled the last 2 outings. 4 earned runs in each of the last 2 starts for him. And now we're still in first place. Let me take a look at the standings. We are half game above the Reds and the Cardinals. Cardinals yet to start playing, but when they do, I think they're going to run away with it. Individually, Chris Bryant leading the league in home runs, but still with that average, he's going to low average, a lot of strikeouts. We have no players on the leaderboards. Not too surprising there. On the American League side, who we got? Tampa Bay leading the East, Cleveland best record in the Central, Seattle 2 games up over Houston in the West. I didn't see that coming. Joey Gallo's still playing really well. 17 home runs, leads the league there, and then 5 wins from Sheffield and Thorpe. Garrett Cole, 70 strikeouts. He's looking good this year. And then for us, National League, no team's really running away in the East and the Central. But how about the Dodgers? 27-5. They're on a 7-game win streak. I think Clayton Kershaw is now in the bullpen for them. So he's probably at the end of his career in this playthrough, even though they got him signed for several more years. They're just looking unbeatable right now. But now, take a look at the news. Strasburg injured again, no surprise. Player development, I wanted to take a look at that. Ernie Clement, he loses some, but still, he's just a backup, and he's making the minimum. So his numbers are okay for what I'm expecting from him. Hazley drops here. Hayward drops even further. Brennan Davis drops a little bit. Not a good look in terms of development. A few guys in the minors may have picked up some ratings. So batters of the month, Joey Gallo in the American League, Juan Soto in the National League. Pitchers of the month, Justice Sheffield looking incredible for Seattle. 5 wins, a 1.13 ERA. And then Mike Soroka also looking incredible. 5 wins for Atlanta, 1.14 ERA. Rookies of the month, Ortega, a rookie starter for the Angels, and then Rosario, a center fielder for Pittsburgh. Not rated all that highly, but having a good start. Players of the week, Mike Trout, Corey Ray. And then rankings, we are now down to 18th after that week. Really after that sweep by the Phillies. But we are being competitive, if nothing else. That Inciarte was that's a big loss early, because I had high hopes for him. So once again, I mean, I'm looking at Caratini off to the start that he's having. He may be somebody I need to trade for offense now. Pitching, though, we really had a good run there the last couple weeks. We're second in earned run average, starters ERA, bullpen ERA, first in opponent's average. So the pitching is really looking good. We're struggling in a few categories, mainly home runs, extra base hits, on the offensive side, but overall we're not doing too bad there either. I think this team still, if we can keep the injuries from eating us alive, I think we're still good enough to compete for a wild card, if nothing else. But it's going to be a tough one. I can see that. So I'm going to go ahead offline, get through the draft, and that should be coming up in another month. And then I'll probably play up until the draft. When it's over, we'll come back, go through the All-Star break, see how we're going to do at that point. And hopefully we're still competing. Don't be surprised, though, if you come back and we're not in the first place in the Central. I think that's going to be hard to maintain if St. Louis starts playing the way they should. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching and supporting my channel, and I will see you next episode.